Hey there and welcome. I am so glad that you are here to learn how to get 3 to 4 listings every month, all without calling your sphere or paid ads. My name is Kat Rich, and I just gotta say I am so glad that you are here today and honored that you registered for it and showed up, because right now in this world of changing times, I was trying to figure out what I could do to really help agents out there. So I put this together to try to help you out there with this new landscape, because the fact is that there are so many more opportunities out there that are not being taken advantage of just because of a lack of lead generation knowledge. Today, I don't take your attention lightly. I want to show you how to get 3 to 4 more listings every month without calling your sphere or paid ads. Okay, we're going to be here for about an hour. Go ahead and block out time, whatever you need, because what I'm going to tell you today has the chance to absolutely change your life, right? Focus on this like it's a private consultation. Get a pen, paper, take some notes. Let's kick this off. My name is Kat Rich. I am the CEO of a company called Catapult Lead Generation. I'm an internet marketer, author of several books. I've been in ads, on podcasts, work with many other coaches and agents, and basically been featured all over the web. And what I'm about to share with you right now is I'm going to show you the exact process of how I've generated hundreds of leads. I'm not just going to show you my experience, but I'm going to show you others' experience who I've helped, who are on the same path as you, who sat on the same training. And I'm going to show you how successfully they've made thousands of dollars getting clients using these exact methods that I'm about to share with you today. If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to get more seller leads online from social media, then this training may be the most important training that you watch in your journey learning marketing. Okay? The information I've shared here has already changed hundreds of agents' lives, and that number is growing by the day. And so I'm going to show you how I and others have both done this, okay? I'm going to show the story of Pamela, who was able to take 2 contracts in her first week, how Cindy was able to increase her confidence around sales, how Rose realized that leads aren't everything, and how Amanda was actually able to use some of these same techniques and go out and get her first listing, her first day, actually door knocking. Okay, and lots of others, okay? So my goals for you today is to show you that content funnels will work for you. And I'll show you exactly what you need to do to get this same sort of success. Okay, are you ready? Are you excited? So before we jump in, I want to give you an idea of the lay of the land. You'll see down here on the bottom, you'll see different icons. Now we're going to go through each of these in order so you can follow along and keep track with us. 8 different sections in this presentation, just a few different steps that we need to go through so that you know exactly what to do. Okay? You're going to see 8 different sections in this presentation, just a few different steps that we need to go through so that you know exactly what to do. And the first step here, the first thing we have to do is establish a foundation. Okay, so there are people coming in that don't know anything about marketing or prospecting or lead generation. Okay, there's also people that have been in this game for a long time. Okay, so when I say the words lead gen or get hundreds of leads, some of you might be like, oh my God, I can't believe these big numbers. How can you promise this? And some of you might be thinking, oh, well, I don't know what the big deal is. I get hundreds of leads already. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just about 90 seconds. We're going to go over the foundations of lead generation just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay? Cool. What is the math of business? So the first thing we want to look at is business as a stair step. Okay. We know that we can reverse engineer it to get what we want. So our ultimate goal is to write our own income and get the freedom, right? So here's what we have to do. Let's talk about what it takes to just get the one transaction. One closing. Okay, so in order to get one closing, which is what, like 4,500 based on the national average, we actually need to have 2 listings signed in order to get the one close. Okay, to get 2 listings, what do you need to do that? You need to have 4 consults held. Okay, from there, you have to have 8 set consults in order to get 4 of them held, okay? Because some people will cancel whatever. So you need to have 8 booked. I'm working with a 50% conversion rate, which is just average for a new agent, okay? And just very safe numbers to really, base your business math on. Now the question is, how do we get 8 set appointments, okay? We need to talk to 20 people to get 1 appointment. So if we talk to 20 people, we get 1 appointment. How many people do we need to talk to get 8? About 160 contacts. A contact is a 2-way conversation with a prospect about real estate. All right. Now, from here, what do we need to do to get 1 contact, okay? Yeah, it's about a 5% talk to set ratio. If you cold called about 200 dials, you get about 20 contacts. It's about, again, 10% pickup rate, okay? With 20 contacts, if you're cold calling, if you did 1,600 dials, then you would get 160 contacts. Think about how difficult it is just to make 1 cold call. How many of you are making 100 cold calls? Think about making 100 cold calls over 16 days. Think about making 200 cold calls a day. Then you're starting to get closer. Okay, so these are like really big numbers, right? So 1,600 dials, and this is just for one closing. If you have 3,200 dials, that's 2 closings. 4,800 dials, this is 3 closings, right? So like huge numbers. This is a bit ridiculous. So with these numbers in mind, we move on to the next part. How do we actually plan? How do we make 4,800 dials to talk to this many people, right? These are huge numbers. So what we're talking about right now is we're talking about prospecting. Okay, let's talk about prospecting real quick. Prospecting is where you reach out to one person at a time. So you could do door knocking, right? One-to-one. Calling expireds like FSBOs. This is one-to-one. You've got cold texting that you could do, one-to-one. You've got circle prospecting where you're just calling a bunch of people in one area. Again, one-to-one. Okay, a couple of pros of this is that you actually get to speak to one person, okay? But the cons usually is that they're not really expecting you to reach out. They're not really receptive or wanting to talk to you right now. Oh, we're in the middle of dinner. Oh, I don't have time right now. Like, has that ever happened to you? Or they don't have the time or the motivation right now. Plus, it takes time and it's slow, okay? The other way of prospecting is having people reach out to you. So how do we get people to reach out to us? This is called marketing, okay? What we found is that the most profitable businesses are using marketing. What is marketing? This is outreach to many people at a time, right? You've got one person, that's you. You want to reach a bunch of people at a time. Boom, there's your crowd. You can do that with any one piece of marketing, right? You just get one thing and you spread it out to people. Couple of pros of doing marketing is that first of all, it used to be expensive. You used to have to pay for stamps, used to have to pay for letters, but now it's free on social media. 10 to 100 times more people because your message is out there. Leads also show up warm, knowing who you are because they've seen you on social media. You also spend one time creating the content, right? So much more efficient. The cons are, though, that you don't know who it is going to reach out to you, but I guess I'm not really sure that's a con. The truth is that marketing really is the fastest and the easiest way to reach the most amount of people, especially when you're using social media marketing. How cool is this? Are you guys starting to see? So how do you get this marketing structure to get people interested in you? And this is the question we are going to answer in the next section. Okay, real quick, I want to talk about what is going on because this system is broken. I did a little bit of research, and the sad thing is that 87%, and you may have also heard these numbers too, that 87% of people are expected to fail within the first 5 years of even being in this industry. Okay, this is horrible, right? We get into this business because we want to make money, and then to have us fail and have 87% of people fail. Can you imagine if universities did this? If they had 87% failure rate when people enrolled? That's just ridiculous. If you went to surgery and they said you have an 87% chance of dying, would you get the surgery? Maybe not. Okay, so 87%, that's like a death sentence, right? If you start acting like everybody else and you're doing what everybody else does, you're gonna fall into that death trap. You're gonna fall into that trap of failure just like everybody else. So we want to get you up into the 13% of success, which is about 260,000 agents. So let me ask you though, why is all of this happening? Out of all of the millions of agents, people who want to get into real estate, how is it that a whole industry is not able to get it together? This sounds a little bit fishy to me. Really, how is this happening? Can somebody explain this to me? What is going on? What I found in my journey is that a lot of agents think that your real estate company is in the education business and they actually care about you and your success. And while individual people probably do, real estate brokerages as a whole are in the sales business. When you had your interview with them, they probably said, yes, we will hire you. And they offered you what they called a job or a position. They probably didn't tell you, yes, we will let you pay us. Okay. If you look at the money flow, you're going to see whenever you sell a house, where does the money go? It goes to the brokerage first, and then they pay you after they take their cut. Not all brokerages are out there for you. So if you've ever had a meeting scheduled between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., which is the generally respected time for lead generation, your real estate company might not be on your side, okay? So I want to start off by saying just a few things. If you have ever failed at lead generation in the past, this is not your fault, okay? You didn't know what I'm about to share with you today. If you're afraid that you'll never be successful in your career, in your lead generation, in your marketing, you can put those fears to rest, okay? Lead subscription services, big companies, website, people who try to sell you leads, make you dependent on them so that you don't leave. They don't own you. And if you've ever felt sabotaged because there has been literally zero lead lead generation or sales or marketing training on how to actually create a strategy to get people to reach out to you, you have been wronged. All of this ends today because I am going to explain all of those things for you. Today can change your life if you let it. Pay attention, take notes, and write this stuff down because this is so good. This stuff is so good. Okay, let's talk. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? All right, the agents called me the lead generation coach. Why? Because I was lead generating. I was actually a lead generation. I was getting 8 listings a month. I started speaking and teaching other agents how to do the same thing that I was doing. This might also seem like a really weird thing to introduce about myself. I want you to know that I am just like you. When I started, I was fresh to the state, fresh to my town, and I had no following. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't even know how to run ads. I wasn't confident in ads. All I knew is that people just said, ads don't work. And so I didn't run any ads. And I didn't want to post every day on social media. Is anybody else in this boat with me when you have no following, never run ads, and you don't want to post every day? Okay, and the reason I bring this up is because I want you to know that you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, I want you to be absolutely certain that content funnels can work for you. Okay, and for anybody. And I came from the humblest of beginnings. And if I can do it and all these others can do it, then you 100% can do it too. Okay, let's talk about what these content funnels are that I keep talking about. Okay, I assure you this whole process did not start off unicorns and rainbows, okay? I actually started off as a music teacher. This is kind of where I got my whole education, right? So not marketing and sales at all. And so I'm going to show you a quick behind the scenes so that you understand. It really started 2015 when I was finishing 10 years of music teaching. I was burnt out because of all the extracurricular things. I had just finished 10 years of teaching. I was burnt out. I was looking for something, but I didn't know what I was looking for. So I was just reading a ton of books until I found this one book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. How many of you guys have ever heard of this book? How many of you guys have ever read this book? Drop it in the chat if you've read this book. So it was this book that inspired me to start my first business, start my first property management business. Okay. Then after 3 years, I was able to sell it. And this is my brother. And he had this little boy and I couldn't help falling in love. So I sold my business. I sold all my things, booked a ticket, flew to Florida. And really, this is where the real estate story begins. Okay. I first got licensed as an agent. I was so pumped, ready for the business. I was like, I'm so successful, blah, blah, blah. I've done all this cool stuff. I couldn't quite get my feet under me. I did all the things that I knew. I did the things that worked in Dubai, but in Dubai, I had a lead source that was always talking about me, trying to get me business. And my business coach was actually giving me so much business there that I didn't have to learn sales or marketing. So when I came to the States, I was a bit clueless on what I was supposed to be doing to actually get business. How do you talk to people? How do you get them to believe that you can do the thing that you've never done? When I got licensed, my brokerage gave me all this training. And I learned contracts and I learned the software. I learned how to log my leads. What I didn't learn was the actual stuff, the thing that I really needed to learn to move my business forward. Okay. Even more tragically, I was pretty naive in thinking that all the instruction I would ever need was at this brokerage or was just out there on the internet and I could just Google it. Anybody else out there that can identify with this gung-ho hustle mentality? It also became apparent after 2 years of struggling, 2 years, that I really didn't know what I was doing and my company wasn't in the business of real usable education, which was a problem for me because I had no idea how to run a business. Fast forward, I ended up spending about $3,000 on a super intense real estate university lead generation type course. Okay. A lot of ways it was really beneficial, excellent for personal development, but I have to tell you something. It became apparent to me that I needed more than this because I had no idea how to get leads. And if I didn't have leads, I wasn't going to be able to run my business. After all of this searching, there's zero instruction on lead generation training or on how to market as a real estate agent. They just kept talking about doing it. Just go market yourself. Okay, but I didn't know how, right? I didn't even know what to do to fix it. I still didn't know how to get leads. And if I could just get leads, all my problems would be solved. There was just no sufficient resources out there in the marketplace for me to learn from. I bought leads. They were junk. I tried to generate my own again, but how? I kept coming up empty-handed, calling the same people. I watched all sorts of videos. I just knew that I couldn't be the only one that was struggling like this. It was just so overwhelming. I couldn't do it. I just knew that there had to be a better way. Then, like a message from above, I got an email that said, hey, we're hiring real estate professionals. You do not have to have experience. We will teach you. Sent them my experience because I desperately knew that I needed to transform my business and get the clients and sales that I needed. And to do that, I needed to know how to generate leads. So I dove in. They did actually give me tons of leads. I was actually great at conversation. I called people. I was making friends. And after about 3 months, I still didn't have any contracts. I was not able to convert. Now, you can probably tell at this point, I am an extrovert. I am very friendly. I'm very personable. I love to talk. I love to chat to people. But turns out being extroverted is not the talent that you need to convert leads. You actually need some sales training. I didn't quite get that. Like, maybe I'm not bright enough, but I couldn't make the leap. I had people on the phone, but then when I switched over to business, they were like, no, thanks. Oh my gosh, I could not convert leads. I mean, this was just so utterly disappointing. Listen, I was so bad at sales. When I got people on the phone, I was like, okay, always be closing. Okay, I was like, what is closing? Closing means when money is exchanged, okay? When money is exchanged, that's the closing. So that's what I need to ask them to do. So I was like, okay, hey, did you want to sell your house for this specific amount? And then I would be like, okay, 30 days from now, let's go ahead and set I don't know what I was thinking, right? But I didn't know any better because I was like, okay, I need to be closing. What is close, right? Had no idea about sales. All of the instruction out there was just so vague, ambiguous. I was freaking upset, okay? Because number one, what a waste of time. Now another 4 months has passed. And number two, I needed real legitimate instruction. Okay, hands-on, I had nothing. I was completely stuck. So of course they fired me. And this is when I kind of fell into this depression, right? So I'm stuck, frustrated, doing the best I can. And I had this agent give me a call. She was like, hey, how's business going? And of course I was like, no, it's you know what? It's not very good. She's like, but you're so good with people. And I was like, I know, what's wrong with me? She's like, you know what? Let's go out to breakfast. Let's have a chat. Well, she finally got me to go. At breakfast, she was like, hey, you should join my team. At this point, I'm in my depression. I've got this failure behind me. I had thoughts like, hey, I am worthless. You don't need me. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just useless if I were to join your team. It's like, there's nothing special about me. I'm not worth your time. I want to know how many of you guys have ever had thoughts like this. Type #headtrash in the chat if you've ever had these thoughts. So she said, you know what? All you really need is the right strategy, training, support, but most importantly, you need accountability. I was like, you are crazy sauce. Don't be surprised when I suck and you fire me too. But at the same time, I was like, I got nothing else going on. If you believe in me, let's do this. And I joined her team. Long story short, I became an ISA for her team, which means I was just cold calling all day, every day, just cold calling. And basically, I was an appointment setter. Okay, she would give me a list of leads to call. I would call them and set appointments from them. I actually learned a whole lot. She actually showed me how to get on track, how to run my lead generation business, conversational content framework to actually take people from the rapport building, which I was great at, down to the next part where I got them into the business. And here's where I was able to create from the lead generation training that she guided me on. I got really good at setting appointments. I get really good at talking to people. Turns out I actually just did need some strategy, training, support, and most importantly, I did need that accountability. When I had those things, over the next 4 months, I was able to build up my sales skills, and I had 8 a month after that. Our team wasn't huge though. Yeah, it was like 5 to 6 agents. One year we had 174 transactions, and then the next year we had 240. Anyway, so there is me, but there was still a problem, right? I was cold calling 250 people a day in an office, having to be focused and on point and conversational, and it was exhausting to me. I just kept thinking there must be a better way to talk to 250 people, right? I was just mentally exhausted, and after 6 months, I was like, okay, I gotta figure something else out. So with $100, I'm investing in a basic marketing course. In about 30 days, I had enough of the lessons. I had the basic marketing principles. I started seeing the pieces connecting, right? This light bulb literally went off in my head. I didn't need to learn how to call more people. I just needed to get in front of people. I needed to create content to attract leads to me, have them reach out to me. Thus was born the content funnels. Now, posting is not the same as marketing. You can post all day long, but if you don't have a specific goal and all of your content tied to that one goal, you're probably not going to get anywhere. So let's talk real quick about what it takes to create a content funnel. I want to cover the secrets to get 3 to 4 listings every month with content funnels. Secret number 1, we're going to talk about how to turn your content post into a funnel that generates you qualified leads. We're going to talk about how this simple content formula turns any average agent into an influencer with engaged followers. Then we're going to talk about how to use 7 AI tools to create all your content for you so that you can spend time with your family or doing whatever else you want to do instead of creating content. Okay, let's talk about secret number 1, how to turn every post into a funnel that generates you qualified leads. Because your lead generation strategy or your posting schedule is probably broken and it's not your fault and it's easy to fix. So what is a content funnel? It is the structure and the sequence of content to actually grab their attention, to build trust, nurture your prospects, so when you put out content, they raise their hand. So you'll need 4 different types of content to grow your business organically. And once you can grow organically, then you'll have a little bit more income if you wanted to go into ads at that point. But right now, you need to have 4 different types of content every week to get your audience engaged with you, okay? Engagement, authority, nurture content, sales content, okay? So, and if you're missing any piece of that puzzle, there are consequences, right? So expansion content basically gets new eyeballs on you, like reels, videos, trending content, catchy stuff. Like that's designed for people who have never seen you, and it's basically to hook strangers in, to discover you. So things that are shareable, stuff that's gonna get a huge amount of reach, stuff that's funny, that makes them wonder who this person is, right? So that's the first type of content you need. Then you need to have authority content. Now, what is this? Obviously, the name says authority content. Build your credibility. Post some things about what you know about your craft. Next, you need nurture content. This is what makes those new people who found you fall in love with you. This is like the dating phase of content. Maybe you educate, maybe you go a little bit deeper. Maybe you tell them about your personality. You tell them kind of what's going on in your personal life, your family, things like this. The consequences are, if you don't do expansion content, then you're actually not getting new people into your world to look at your content and therefore not growing your audience. And if this is the only content you do, you're going to get people in the door, but they're never going to take you seriously for vanity's sake because you're just entertaining all the time. Now, if you're not doing authority posts, your newbies are going to be confused as to why they're watching your content or why they should even listen to you. Right? And if you're going to look frou-frou, you're going to look fluffy, you look like you're just on there for vanity's sake because you haven't established yourself as the authority. And if this is the only content you do, people are going to realize that you may know what you're doing, but they don't like you very much. Okay, they may think that you're arrogant or braggy. Now, if you're not delivering nurture content, you'll probably get people who want your service, but then they go look elsewhere because they haven't fallen in love with you specifically. Okay, and if this is the only content you do, your audience will like you, but they won't take you seriously. Now, the worst one, though, is people who are constantly on sales. When you don't create sales content, you don't create the opportunity for people to actually reach out to you. And if this is the only content that you're doing, people probably aren't warmed up enough to actually reach out to you. Because if all you're doing is asking for business, hey, let me sell your house, hey, let me help you, then this is where you start getting the creepy, the salesy kind of vibe. Okay, and this is where people think that you're only in it for the money. Is this making sense? Okay, here's what happened when I put out some of this content. So you can see I've got 54 comments, 113, 85, 30, 85 comments. And so all of this stuff, this is all of the different kinds of content I started putting out. Okay, and then I started teaching the same system to my clients. They started getting these same results. 35 comments, 34 comments, 32 comments, 172, 28 comments. Okay, so like they started getting tons of engagements and tons of leads. I want to share with you a story about Cindy. Had recently been widowed, so she was the breadwinner now in her family. She really needed to make money and she just wasn't getting the help she needed at her office. She was feeling quite disappointed. I actually met her in a Facebook group because she had asked for help. She had put up her hand. She said, I'm not feeling like getting the support that I need. She was on a training just like this. We hopped on a call. She jumped in to work with me and she reached out. She got her first 2 listings in about the first month, and then she got 2 closings after that. And Brian, you see here in the middle, got 40 plus engagements on his post in 2 hours. Kristen, she's like, I had 4 closings since February and 1 more listing coming soon. All were from Facebook and chatting. She's like, it's been a busy month, but I'm so grateful. Can you see how powerful this is? How would you like to have results like that? Imagine how your life would be different if you could get 4 closings just by using the right content strategy. So having a content funnel has helped the agent stand out from everybody else, regardless of what great service you can offer. If your content sucks, or if it looks corporate and processed just like every other agent, it doesn't look personable, they're not going to think to call you, and they're not going to recognize your specialty. If your business is going to succeed, you must master the process of content funnels. If you do not set up your content funnel, your prospects won't know to reach out to you. And social media is the easiest platform to do this. And I'm going to show you how it's just ridiculously easy to actually do it, even not having any content creation background. Okay. It doesn't actually matter how good your service is if people don't know about it. And if you look like everybody else, people are going to think that you're like everybody else who doesn't know what to do. And people won't believe that you know what you're doing or that you can help them. Because the truth is, when you leverage the sales tactics embedded within your content funnel, you don't even need to try to sell, right? They just show up warm, wanting to work with you.